Clap.
Hey, we're being recorded.
There we go. All right, so we are recording. This is the Saturday morning work session. It is August 7th, 2021. And let's go start with the agenda. And as of right now, we have David McNamara, Diane Shrimp, Mark Ruger, Tony Benedetti, Joe Curl, and Brian Wolf are not in attendance yet, but maybe soon. So, all right, Mark, whenever.
So Jesse's not here today?
Jesse is not here today. He is on vacation.
Oh.
Okay.
He's gonna be here. So how long is he on vacation?
I believe I have an email from him that he is going to try to, as long as his flight is not delayed or canceled, he is going to try to make the meeting on Monday. But I believe, let me verify that. Go ahead. While I verify that, you're fine, Mark.
Okay, so looking at Monday's meeting and our legislation that's coming up, 2021-25 is just affirming the appointment of Jess Binghamton as a full-time police officer, second reading. Nothing big there. I'm sure Councilperson McNamara will ask Chief Delp if this guy's doing a good job, and since we haven't heard that he isn't, I'm sure he will be.
I absolutely will do all of those things, and all of those things will happen.
Yep.
And just so you know, just for the record, we haven't had any issues, problems, questions, or concerns.
I would hope we haven't had any if we're going to approve them.
No, this officer's been an officer for quite a while. He came to us from Mifflin, and he is wonderful. I mean, we've not had any issues whatsoever.
Excellent.
It looks like we're getting the first reading of 2021-26. That is the native plant resolution. I wonder if I can skip past all this stuff.
While you're skipping, Jesse has every intention of being at the meeting Monday. However, if anybody is aware of what's been going on with flights, don't hold your breath.
Just don't get in a fight, Jesse.
Yeah. They've been canceling flights left and right, and that's an issue right now. So if he's on Spirit, he'll never make it. If he's on Southwest, he might be there.
Well,
if he's on Spirit, they're going to have him get out and push.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't ask that part.
I am not seeing in the packet the full description of 20.
Well, that I should have said something. I mean, I noticed it that the resolution for the storm sewers, I don't think the top page came through.
Yeah,
like the second page.
May have been the way that we scanned it in. We can go over it. Let me see if.
Now, I mean, with this one, oh, here we go. It was above the stuff. Natural world has been damaged about non-native and invasive species.
I looked through there. That top page didn't come through. I didn't say anything.
We'll get to that one when we're at that one. I was looking at the plant one. Is resolved that the Village of Minerva Park encourages the use of native plants in both commercial and residential construction projects within its boundaries, and that the Village of Minerva Park shall seek out and prioritize the use of native plants and or non-invasive plants whenever possible relevant to the horticultural elements of all future village construction projects. So once again, this is a nice resolution. It does not carry with it the weight of no for anyone who's concerned with that. It doesn't say you can't plant your whatever maple. It just says, please don't.
But I'm going to frown.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, as far as, you know, what it really does is it's not something that later people are going to have to apply for whatever permits because they want to plant a Japanese maple.
It's just an official recommendation.
Yeah. So I don't think we're probably going to have, I mean, it's just the first reading. Does anyone have any discussion they want to do on that, since this
there's a spelling error, and I'll get it.
What did I spell wrong?
No, she's talking about the other resolution.
So it says the village instead of village. There's an F instead of a V.
All right, so now we're moving on to more important stuff. Let me rephrase that, not more important, more pressing matters. That'd be 2021-27, a resolution authorizing the mayor and fiscal officer to enter into contract for the 2021 storm sewer improvements project and declaring it an emergency. And I'm seeing in my parentheses here, first reading, intent to waive readings and pass as an emergency.
No, I screwed that. Okay, so no, we are not waiving readings, only passing it as an emergency. I don't know why. So this is why we do this. Hang on, this is for the storm sewer.
What project is this for?
Okay, that's what I'm going through. So we are doing a reading. Mike Flickinger has completed all of the information for the East Shore Court project. That project has been advertised to be bid out based on the recommendations from our attorney. That's what's missing at the very top. I don't know how I did this legislation, so I'm not sure why it cut off the top page. So
go ahead.
The bid advertisements are actually going to be bid or out for the next 3 weeks. All of the bids will be returned back by August 27th. This will only need to be passed as an emergency because we can get moving forward in the event that we do pick a bid. Now, in the event that we don't pick a bid or we don't get any bids, then we don't move any further. September 13th is the date that we have our meeting. So we will have 2 weeks to go over all of the bids. We have the next 30 days to go over the project. We have the next everything. I already see Tony's face having a heart attack.
Well, because, okay, are you done? Sorry.
No, I'm actually not done. So the whole purpose to this, just so Mark and everybody's fully aware, is once again, this is the recommendation that we move forward with the East Shore Court project. This has been a project that we've talked about for 2 to 3 years. So taking the recommendations from our attorney, or taking our recommendations from the village engineer, we are moving forward with the recommendations to get bids. Does not mean we're going to move forward with those bids. However, hopefully we will. But once these bids come in, we will be able to look at the project and look at everything. And again, in the next 30 days, we can bring Mike Flickinger in to go over the project and go over everything that we are in the process of doing. Go ahead, Tony.
Well, I don't know if you recall the last Streets Committee meeting, we decided that we were going to hold off on the East Shore Court project until the recommendations for the analysis of the storm sewers was done. I specifically remember saying, Joe, relax, because we may not do this part of the project. Okay. That's what was decided in the last committee meeting, Mayor.
So on August 13th, we're expecting all of that information to be delivered to us. So once again, this is all going hand in hand. In the event that we want to get this project moving forward this year, this is a first reading. So that is the whole point of what we're doing. This is the first reading for that project. That information should be back to us by around August 13th.
You just got finished saying that we were going to pass this as an emergency on Monday night.
No, she didn't.
I actually did not. I said that there would be 3 readings. September 13th is when it would pass. And we would be asking on September 13th for it to be done as an emergency. Mike Flickinger just specifically asked me to start the readings, or recommended, he did not ask me. He recommended that if we started the readings, we wouldn't be, once again, trying to waive things and do all of that. We're aware, as you guys are fully aware, there's X's in there for the contractor name because we've not received bids. They are not due again. And for the record, August 27th is when the bids are due. And again, the rest of the storm analysis should be back to us around August 13th. So the goal and the plan is to have Mike Flickinger come in sometime after August 13th, but before September 13th.
And what I guess you're not, okay, so between the time of the 13th, when the information comes in, we're supposed to know what we want to move forward with on the East Shore Court project, because we're going to pass it as an emergency on the 9th. So 6 days after we get the information, we're supposed to pass it as an emergency. Or you're recommending that it's being recommended that we pass this as an emergency to get it out to bid. When we'll have,
we're already out to bid. Bids again. The bids come in on August 27th. Well, I'm not sure where the 6 days is coming.
You are putting out to bid something that we haven't decided that that's what we're going to do yet.
Hey, Tony, I'm going to stop. as as part of the administration, my job is to get these projects set in front of you, get you guys the information, and you guys have the ability to vote for all of them. There are 6 members, 6 members get to vote. If you don't like the way, stop, I'm in the middle of a sentence. If you just like the Garmin Miller contract, there are 6 people that got to vote on that, and there's 6 people that are going to get to vote on this. If you don't like the direction of the East Shore Court project, you can vote no. There are 5 other members that are going to have all of, I am in mid-sentence. You've stopped me for it, and I'm not doing this today.
I'm sorry.
I'm telling you, there are 6 members. They will all have a chance to vote. My recommendation is that we're going to move forward on this East Shore Court project the way that our engineer has described it. If for some reason Streets Committee doesn't want to and they want to recommend not, you guys can recommend that to the other 5 members. I am following our engineer's recommendations, and I'm going to stick with that. So everybody will have a chance to vote for the East Shore Court project. If it's not in the rest of the members, if they don't want to do it, they don't have to. My job is to continue to bring you guys the information and the things that need done in this village. You guys vote. I don't. All I can do is bring it to you. And that's what I'm doing.
Are you done?
I am done.
Okay. Now I'm going to say this one more time, Mayor.
Go ahead, Tony.
The street committee had a meeting. In the last streets committee meeting, we talked about I told Joe, the part of the project that you're concerned about, we haven't decided that we're going to do that yet. That's what the street committee discussed in the last meeting. So your recommendation has no bearing on this. It's what the committee, and I will report that at this meeting, because this is the first meeting we've had since the street committee meeting.
Okay.
And I'm going to report to everyone that the street committee decided that they want to hold off on moving forward with the East Shore Court project until we have time to look at the information that is going to be provided us in the future. That's
and as my job,
Mayor, hold on.
Go ahead.
That is what was decided in the street committee meeting that you're referring to. So it's not me saying that this is what we want to do. It's the committee that is saying this. And you are overriding what the committee recommended.
And I'm going to stick with that because I currently have, and Diane, I will go to you next. And I'm going to stick with that because we have residents that are claiming that their houses are falling in due to this project that you guys don't want to move forward to. So I'm going to, as the administrator, move forward with this project, period, as long as I'm able to get it to the 6 council members. So again, if the streets committee decides that they don't want to do it, you can explain that to the other 6 people. I will explain to them all of the information that I have and Mike Flickinger has. And if they want to move forward, then we can still move forward. So I don't agree with the recommendation.
Just a qualified point, Mayor, if I may. The point is that the council has not decided to accept any bids or move forward with the project. The project itself is not actually moving forward. All you're doing is getting information and putting the pieces in front of council in another month and a week for them to make a final decision. So that's where we're at.
That seems perfectly reasonable. I mean, especially in the case of flooding houses. I mean, if there's very few things that I consider a valid use of emergency legislation, this would actually be one of them.
I completely agree in that there are parts of the East Shore Court project that absolutely need to be done. I am not disagreeing with that. And we need to do this as soon as possible. But the entire project, the way it is put together today, has elements of it that are not necessary, provided that the storm sewer analysis verifies that. That's why you, Mayor, I appreciate you wanting to get things done. But what you were talking about doing is putting out a bid for a project that has parts of it that we may not want to do.
You can cut those projects.
And that hasn't been decided one way or the other yet through the committee.
And guess what? It's going out to bid and you guys will have the opportunity to vote on it. This is a first reading. So I know Diane has something she would like to say, and then I would like to move forward to the next piece of legislation, Mark.
Okay. being on the street committee, I know that I don't believe, I'll have to get the recording of the street committee. I was there, but I don't remember us voting on anything. We talked about it. And I know that the street committee is not, necessarily, I mean, I didn't think we shouldn't go forward with this, but my concern is that Joe in particular is still out there. And so in terms of his feelings about it, and of course he has property that would be impacted as well. So he has his own focus on this. So I am concerned that the street committee is adrift in terms of where they are on this, waiting. They keep changing their mind. And so I appreciate where the mayor is coming from in terms of we have the engineering report, and if we need to keep moving, we need to keep moving in a parallel fashion, I think. While this is going on, then somehow or another, the rest of the street committee needs to be reconciled to the solution. But in terms of us agreeing as a committee, maybe Joe and Tony agreed, so that made it
that's
2-1. So that's fine. But I'm on the street committee too, and I am concerned and confused that we're going backwards on this in the street committee in terms of what we think, and all the emails from Joe since the street committee about how maybe we could start over from the beginning, because what it sounds like he's talking about are things we talked about a year ago. So I hope that can all get straightened out in the interim, and however that can be done. But I'm certainly in agreement. We need to push forward as we're trying to, in the background, trying to clarify some things. But I definitely am in agreement that this paperwork and this bidding process needs to move forward. It's time.
Okay. Thank you, Diane. And that's the goal.
Some things to point out that I think some members are perhaps not hearing or getting or understanding. Of course, we are putting out a bid to repair, I assume this is at East Shore, the dam head or whatever, not the dam, but the big water thing that's made of wood timbers and collapsing. As Councilperson Benedetti pointed out, Streets is concerned about the report that we are going to get from the rest of the sewer upwind of it or upriver from it. I believe Mayor Hughes pointed out that report will be ready before these bids will all be in. What we're doing is assuming we're going to have to do this. So we have the bids out, which don't cost us really, well, however much they cost us for Mike or Eric or whoever puts those together in regular hourly work. And then we'll get bids. By the time we get bids and have to vote on accepting one, we will have the report for the rest of the line to look at. We will have the further recommendation, and we won't be 3 weeks behind on accepting it. So this will be read as a first reading Monday night. And until we get further details, I'm all about getting a couple weeks ahead, as we all know how long it takes to pass and move something into legislation.
Just wait till Monday night meeting to explain why that's a completely ridiculous freaking.
No, you can explain that now, because Monday night
I'm gonna wait till Monday night.
The time to do it.
Hey, Tony, I'm going to make this comment, and I wasn't going to do this today, but you having these conversations and threatening and doing all of these things outside of these meetings, I'm not going to tolerate it. I'm just telling you, you're not going to waste village time and continue to do this for the next. If you want to have this conversation, this is a live recorded, or it is a recorded, go for it. You can have your 10 minutes, but we will be setting the 10-minute clock, because I have had so many residents over the last 2 weeks tell me that they are tired of listening to the Monday night meetings that are just going in circles. They want village information, and they want They want to see a council that they could, the conversations that I had at National Night Out and at the pool over the last 2 weeks, the residents are getting fed up. They would like a meeting that is professional, that is, this is our chance to go over and for you to ask all of the questions that you want. Just because you don't like an answer, you should not be.
I'm tired of you telling me what to do.
I'm just asking you
I'm tired of you telling me what to do.
I'm not telling you what to do, but you are wasting village money. You are wasting the attorney's time. You're wasting the chief's time. You're doing all of that. So we're here in this meeting if you want to hash it out.
Are you done?
But telling village employees over the last couple of days and some of the things that you've been saying,
I told one village employee that you're out of control.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm out of control.
I have no problem. I'll say it right here.
So again, we're not going to do this. We're really not going to do it, but I'm not going to tolerate it.
Listen, I don't care what you think, okay?
Okay. You're not going to harass me.
You and Eric are a huge problem here.
Okay.
And I don't know. I'm sure that you. Let me finish. You want me to get it over with? You just told me that,
go ahead.
You know that there's everybody you talk or a lot of people you talk to are sick of listening to me. Well, I can tell you that a lot of people that I talk to are sick of listening to you. Okay, so let's go. You know what I'm trying to say here. The reason that this sewer project should not be put out to bid, it's this simple, is because we haven't decided what the scope of that project's going to be yet. And to put it out to bid and then to come back and change what the scope is going to be is stupid.
It's actually not stupid.
Right. And Tony, here's the only thing I'm going to say about that. I will take the village engineer's recommendation for a project every day over again. That's all I'm going to say.
We hire.
I agree with that. But what you don't understand.
No, you're not agreeing with that.
No, what I'm trying to explain to you is that I'm waiting before I decide that we should, or before I feel that we should move forward. I want to hear what's going to be presented on the 18th. That's what you don't.
Nobody's presenting anything on the 18th.
Or whenever he presents his information and comes up with his analysis, I'm waiting for that. Okay, but you're putting it out to bid before that comes back.
So if I may, real quick. So the thing is that all this information is going out there. You're going to get all your information prior to having to vote on it in a third reading. If you accept the bids and there needs to be a change in the scope, you work that out with the contractor you select after the fact. That's not that hard. I don't know what's difficult in this situation. But hey, Tony, as you've said to the village employees, I'm stupid, the mayor's stupid, we're stupid. That was your exact quote. So put that on the record. I mean, you're harassing people. So it is what it is.
Okay, so let's move forward, Mark. Thank you.
Okay, next we are looking at 12/20/21, an ordinance amending the codified ordinances. This is the modified note disturbing the peace that includes the noise ordinance. Zooming on down. And if you look in your packet, it does have, oh, well, that's a shame. I wish it would have, okay. I'm not in charge of that. Would have been nice if the changes were in a different font color or something just to see what was being added new. But I believe it's everything from
Are we on the noise?
We're on the noise. The new stuff.
Everything from 6 down, I believe, is new. Off the top of my head, I'm not looking at it, but there was I believe under 5, everything got added there. I can color that for everyone's assistance.
Yeah, I mean that'd be my only. Just so, and this is. Oh, I already scrolled down. Which reading is this?
Second.
Okay, so this is just the second reading. Yeah, if you could get that colored so we can see what is the actual new stuff. But you're saying it's 6 down.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, but I'll properly highlight that and email that out by Monday.
Okay. Do we want to discuss this, please?
Well, yeah, I would, because the last meeting we talked about what plainly audible means. I was told that I misconstrued what plainly audible means. And
yeah, I believe that is correct. You did misconstrue what plainly audible means.
Well, okay, but since then I've searched it on Google, and that's what I did a search, and what plainly audible means is that if you can detect detect a sound, and all the legislation that I've seen that talks about a 75 or 50-foot distance, it's with regards to like a car radio, is that if you can hear it and it doesn't need to be understood, you don't need to comprehend what is being said, or you don't have to understand the words of the song or the music, you just need to be able to hear it. That is the definition of plainly audible. It is not what Brian described it as. Tell me what part of this I've got wrong, Mark.
So what is your suggestion then that we should change the wording to?
What's that?
What is your suggestion that we should change the wording to?
I'm not suggesting we change the wording. What I'm suggesting is that we have a specific time that we require that goes into effect. That's what I'm recommending.
You mean time of evening or something like that?
And what would your time frame be then that you were suggesting? Okay, so that of course runs into the problem that the sun sets at 5:30 in December and 9:30 in July.
And that's exactly, what I was trying to say at the last meeting is that I have a wet saw that I set up outside of people's houses when I'm working. And I can tell you that I just feel uncomfortable making noise after it gets dark. So in the wintertime, I only work till it gets dark. And that's sometimes, 5:30. But in the summertime, I work, up to 8, 9 o'clock at night. Sure. So yeah, I am recommending that this, the requirement for not hearing it 75 feet away doesn't go into effect until dark, sunset, because you can pinpoint sunset every day.
Has made a suggestion to change it. I'm going to, we'll just do a little straw whip around here. I am in disagreement of that. I don't think having a flexible actual time on the clock makes sense. Diane, would you like to weigh in?
Actually, no, I would not like to weigh in.
You don't want to vote one where you're abstaining.
I have just a piece of clarifying point here with Tony's suggestion, and I don't have any issues either way with what the council decides from a time frame standpoint. I know it got discussed in legislation. I just want to point out that, number one, in Tony's example, anything with contracting stuff is defined separately in the code as to your exemption and when you can work and stop work. So, your saw, wintertime can go later than 5:30 or dusk. I realize you, as a matter of policy, when you're working, stop your saw at dark. But the fact is in the village, people don't have to stop it until the time, which is later, which I thought we changed as well. I don't know the exact time, but it's not 5:30, it's after 7. And it's just exempt. And Sundays is a day that in holidays, people that can't work at all. So from a contracting standpoint. Now, the other item is the problem we run into is that darkness does not necessarily suggest that people are going to have wild and raucous parties, right? You may have a third shift guy that's sleeping in the day, and then I've got a giant, people decide to start, there we go, Mr. McNamara, that sleeps in the day, and you may have neighbor decides to have a raucous party, at some point in the mid-afternoon, they got drinking early on a Saturday or a Sunday, and it is all hell's broken loose, right? So it's one of those things the council should consider before setting any times. I think to give the maximum flexibility per chief's recommendation and per Jesse's recommendation, you kind of leave it open for the officer's discretion, which is what they're trying to do there.
Not to mention the idea, I'm sorry, Mayor.
No, I was just saying, I agree with Eric. That was the recommendation from the chief, is to not put a time, because you have a wild party, OSU party, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and they have no leg to stand on. Yeah,
I like the idea. I understand that. I understand that. I would like the chief to have the flexibility, and but that means that I trust the officers to use good judgment, and which at this time I do, and I hope I'm not wrong in that. But that trust is required with this ordinance.
I would also remember that, if I recall correctly, the 75-foot stipulation is actually more generous than other municipalities.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, so right now the vote's 1 for, 1 against, 1 abstain.
1 for.
Well, I mean,
I'm voting for it. I'm not abstaining.
Oh,
I didn't.
okay.
I didn't mean to say. I meant to say that I thought we had enough discussion on this, and I was ready to go ahead and vote for this, and I didn't need to talk about it anymore.
You are not behind a change in the verbiage of it, then, is what you're saying. It doesn't need amended, is what you're saying in your mind.
Me?
Yeah.
No, I think the resolution as it stands is fine.
All right. So that's looking 2 or 3 council members at least are saying it's fine. So I don't see a reason to amend it currently. And that is,
thank you.
That is all the legislation for Monday night.
Awesome.
Ooh, and that's me hitting my computer and making it fly.
All right. So let's move to old business, new business, whatever we want to do. And it's 8:30 and maybe we can get out of here early today.
Well, seeing that Jesse's not here, I'm sure we will, because, and I guess if it's okay, you know, has everybody had a chance to look at the contract, parts of the contract, or any of the emails that I've been sending out regarding the Garmin Miller contract?
Tony,
I've seen them, but I figured they'd be discussed here.
What's that?
I said I've seen them, but I figured we would discuss them today.
Okay, I'm just want to see if everyone's up to speed as they can be. You know, I really don't know where even to start with this. You know, it's so messed up in so many different ways.
Okay, can I?
I guess, can I please, Mayor? Or go ahead.
I'd like to hear what's
I think I was just really going to ask. I think that the big thing that I'm going to say about this is legislation that passed by 5 members. The transfer of money for the appropriation also transferred by 5 members. The legislation states that I can enter into an agreement not to exceed $116,000. So you have done this now this is our 3rd meeting that we have talked about this particular contract. I have been given authorization to agree into a contract for up to $116,000, in which we have done.
That's not true. Okay, so this is what the problem is that, okay, what I would like to read from you, the problem is the 2117, the resolution that was written, is full of errors. Okay, and what we need to do is go back to resolution 2020-32, the resolution that's being described in resolution 2117. Now, the most important line here is that in resolution 2032, it says in section 2, the cost of the project will be outlined in the final agreement and will require approval from council. That is the language. This is the most important language here that we need to concentrate on, everyone, is it says in resolution 2032, that the council is required to outline the cost of the project in the final agreement. And that final agreement needs to be approved by council. Now, this agreement was just constructed within the last couple of days. And that's what I need the mayor to explain to us. When did this contract, when did you sign this contract? When did it When was it presented to council? Because this contract that you gave me, that's all filled out, was not given to was not available to council the day that we passed it. On
Tony,
June 16th or June 14th is when we passed resolution 2117. Was passed on June 14th. The agreement that you have given everyone is dated June 24th.
Correct.
So,
right.
So
right.
Let me jump in.
After I was given authorization.
Okay, wait, I'm not done. I'm not done. The contract was not written the day that we approved the contract.
Okay, well, let me jump in. Maybe this will clear it up for Tony, maybe not. So here's how this generally works, Tony, and I'll let Jesse opine on how contracts work with municipalities. So in general, the process is, as was received on the 2020 resolution, you had a blank skeleton for how that contract, the final contract would look, along with their initial letter. Now, what transpired is that after the phase 1 went through, we went to, council agreed to move to phase 2. A new resolution authorizing the mayor to negotiate and enter into agreement was put before council, and that was authorized. And furthermore, the amount of money was authorized. And so all the technical T's are crossed and the I's are dotted. Now, what occurs, since you allowed the mayor to enter into negotiation, at that point, the business terms are filled in. Legal counsel reviews that along with staff. Legal counsel did review it prior to the mayor signing it. Some changes were made to that, to the contract, and we reviewed the business terms as well. There were a couple points that were addressed in the revised letter, which had to do specifically with geotechnical consultant costs, so that we would not have to come back to council, because we want to make sure that everything is included on the amount that council approved, right? So that was, again, negotiated and agreed to. And after that's done, the mayor then gets her, you know, after Jesse gives his okay, she signs it. And that's how it works. Now, Jesse can opine on that, as in any particular details that you may think are incorrect. I would say discuss it with legal counsel. So, and he can explain how this works if you don't believe me. We've just done this so many times. And again, you know, but as you stated, I don't know what I'm talking about, but sure, go ahead.
Well, Eric, here's the thing, is that it's you and the mayor that have done all these things. And so far, you're the only two people that are saying that you've done everything correctly.
Talk to Jesse if you don't like the process.
Here's what I want to hear. I want to know what specific day this contract was signed. Number one, Mayor, what day did you sign this contract?
Is there a date on it, Eric?
There's a date on it.
I didn't ask what the date on the contract is.
Should be the 24th.
Hold on.
Should be the 24th, if I remember right.
I didn't ask what day is on the contract. I asked you what day you signed it. What day
was signed?
After I had authorization, Tony.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I can see what date.
You don't remember what day it was? You don't remember? I want to hear.
I don't either. I mean, I will have to look it up.
I don't know what I ate for lunch yesterday, Tony.
What's that?
I don't know what I ate for lunch yesterday. I don't know what day I specifically.
Okay, your answer to the question. Your answer to the question is you don't know what day you signed it.
However, I can see
it was after authorization.
Okay. So you're saying that you signed it sometime after
I was given authorization.
What's that?
Yeah, I signed it after I was given authorization. I signed it after June 14th when it was approved.
And you're not going to, but you don't remember what specific day that was.
Tony, do you know what date you signed the last check for your rent? No, I don't.
Yeah, I do. At least I can figure that out.
I can figure it out, but in the middle of a meeting right now, no, I don't have that date in front of me.
We can look that up.
I signed a specific contract.
I mean, this is a very silly question. She didn't sign it prior to council. After council authorized this, we have to go back and get all the business terms filled in, and then it has to be presented back to Jesse to review, and we review everything, and then the mayor signs it. But she clearly signed it. We'll pull it up after council authorized everything.
That's not my question. Okay.
I'm hearing
can you let somebody else in council have a second to like?
Yeah. From what I'm hearing from you, Tony, your main sort of bone of contention here is that the cost of the project will be outlined in the final agreement and will require approval from council, which is the 2020-32, which was passed after obviously 2021-17 or what have you. And Jesse can opine on this because I'm not a lawyer. It would seem to me that when we passed 2020-17 saying we approve up to $116,000, that as long as the cost for the final agreement isn't over $116,000, we as a council had already voted on and approved that money to be spent. Now that does seem weird that we approved it before we saw the final thing, but we have approved that amount of money for a contract with Garmin Miller. We now have a contract for Garmin Miller that is that amount of money or less. I'm not sure the exact dollars and cents. So it seems like council actually did approve that cost.
You're right.
Like
and you're absolutely right, is that we have approved the cost, but what we haven't done is approve the final agreement.
So here's how this gets solved, right?
And that's what's, okay, let me finish, Eric.
It's very simple.
And this is where, Eric, I really don't, Eric, you're the one that has decided that this is okay. And at this point, I don't know what Jesse has approved or not. Eric, hold on. The point of this that everyone needs to understand is that in resolution 2032, this is where it doesn't necessarily require us to approve the cost. What it does require us to do is to approve the final agreement, which will have the outline of the cost in it. So council is required, we're going to read it again. Section 2 of 2032 says, the cost of the project will be outlined in the final agreement.
So
that's where, Eric, I'm not done.
But this is going to agree with you. Stop. This is going to agree with you. I want to cut this stupidity off. I'm sorry. It's too much, dude. So here's how this will work. All right. We're going to put it back in front of legal counsel. Very easy to do. He can compare and contrast both resolutions. He can opine on whether we need to make a technical change, need to put something back in front of the council or other options. And then it happens that way. So everything is technically correct. If we're already technically correct, great. He'll opine on that. If we're not, we'll make a technical correction. This has been done in the past.
And we need to get Jesse involved. And this is my other question. When did Jesse review the contract that was signed?
He reviewed it back between, if I'm looking at my notes, 6/22 to 6/24. He was reviewing stuff and sending things back to Garmin Miller that they needed to change in the contract.
Okay. Now, okay, I want to move on to a different topic in the contents of the contract. And that's where I'd ask everyone to look at articles 3.2, 3.3, 3.4, and 11.5. This is where it discusses the percentages of work that is done in the project. And, 3.2 and 3.3 describe what the schematic phase and the design document phase of the project. The question that I had presented to ask everyone was, the way I read this contract is that right now they have already completed the schematic phase and the design document phase of the contract. And we're about to start into the construction phase of the contract. Now, this is my question to everyone, because I'm trying to figure this out. Doesn't it appear that we have already completed the schematic phase of the schematic and design document phase of the project? And if that is true, okay.
Nope.
Okay, then help me understand.
I'll refer you to the village newsletter that came out the other day. Under village community municipal building status, council passed a resolution that allowed the mayor to enter an agreement with Garmin Miller Architects to design a solution. The proposed draft design is now complete, draft design. Garmin Miller will spend the next several months working on the final layout of the building plans required to put the building out to bid. So I'm not sure what it says in the contract, but in the newsletter says,
well, I'm glad that we're using the village newsletter as our legal.
Tell you that the design is the schematics and the design are not done. What was done was what was called phase one, which was an agreement that Tiffany signed with the to actually come up with a concept. So the $12,000 we spent was spent for this design concept that was presented to us, and that was that. And so now that we know we're in the ballpark, they're going to actually do the schematics and design for real for the purposes of bidding out the project. Yeah. So it's completely different what's going on here. So anyway, that's.
And Tony, the reason I read that is that's the report from admin. I understand the newsletter isn't a binding resolution, but what that shows is the intent of admin who has entered into a contract saying, this is where we are. We still have some final things to change and I mean, your worry is that Tiffany and Eric are out of control or something and running roughshod. And what I'm saying is publicly their intent is, hey, we still need some more stuff on this, which goes to what the thought process is.
Well, I understand.
We're not finished.
Well, if you look, like I point out, if you look at Article 3.4, which describes construction documents, because that's what it appears like to me. This is the way I understand. Okay, hold on, let me finish. The way I understand this, the way it's been explained to me is that Garmin Miller is getting ready to put together the construction documents and put this out to bid.
Yeah, that's going to take a while.
I understand that. I understand that.
Input on it. I mean.
Okay, so
there you go.
Just so council's aware, for who's here, we have had 2 meetings with Garmin Miller to go over design. So we are currently in the design, period. That's where we are. We have not gone any further than that. So I appreciate once again all the questions that you have. I'm glad people are actually reading and asking questions. I got nothing to hide. I apparently, somebody thinks I do, but no, this is part of a process. Like Eric had advised, and I just want to say it for myself, if there's any type of clerical errors or anything like that, we will get it done. Point being, and I think this is what's just frustrating for me. There are 6 council members, 5 members want to move forward with this project. So if there is a clerical error, we will all be more than I and Eric, since apparently, whatever. We will be more than happy to get that done, get it updated, and get it back to council. Again, we have 5 council members that want to see this project continue to move forward. And the only thing that I'm not going to do is continually hash this out every single week. So Monday morning, again, Jesse doesn't get back until the afternoon, so I don't know how ready he will be for this Monday evening. But we will have this in front of him Monday morning. That way, when he has the ability to go over both the resolutions, both the signed contract, if he feels there's any type of clerical error or anything like that, he will get that done for us.
Yeah,
I would, if somebody has anything else that they want to say about this, we're almost 9 a.m. I would like to get this moved forward.
And just real quick, just if I can add.
I would like to do, what I'm trying to figure out here is what phase of this.
We're in the design.
Yeah,
okay,
design
well then the schematic is first. Schematic is.
Okay, look. It doesn't. If
you want to end this, if you want to get this over with,
when we do these projects, schematic and design doesn't really matter. We're working through the process with the architect. We haven't got the construction bids documents yet by any means. The council is going to actually get to make some choices and look at some things when we get there from a design standpoint. We're not there yet, so the council is going to have the opportunity to re-review stuff that we are going to put in front of them. So I think this is all very silly. I mean, there's no other word for it. I've never seen this behavior from anyone in these kind of processes in any municipality I've worked for. So just be patient. We're going to get everything back to you. Okay.
Thank you, Eric. That's great. That's great news, Eric. But here, let me explain to you what I was just told is that we're in the design phase.
Oh my goodness. So it doesn't, you're good. Yeah, you're in a phase.
The schematic design.
All my point to you, Tony, is we're not in the construction phase. We're nowhere near the construction phase. We're nowhere near the bid phase.
We're in the first phase of this
10%.
contract. We're in the schematic design phase.
Sure. Okay, fine. Sure. We're schematic design phase, whatever you want, right? What else?
I'm just trying to figure it out because it doesn't make sense.
Okay, great.
It doesn't make sense to you, but this is a process that people go through in building buildings every single day. I'm not going to say that I know exactly step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. That is why we hired Garmin Miller.
I mean, what the overarching issue here seems to be with the, and I'm not, pointing out anyone specifically because, I'm not, there are questions from more than one person. But it seems that there's almost a distrust of professionals going on here, and I'm curious as to what we're hoping to accomplish by trying to, not to say second guess, but to scrutinize to such a high degree people who are, educated and professional engineers or municipal planners or architects. I guess I'm not seeing I'm not seeing what on earth we're hoping to accomplish by this.
Well, I think one individual just wants to gum up the works. That's the best.
No, I'm trying to understand what's going on, and I'm trying to keep us doing things correctly. And, I understand that I'm the only one here that feels anything's wrong. I have no problem with that, but I'm going to tell you that I've read the contract and it doesn't make sense that, to me, you're right. We are still in the design phase, but within one more decision, we're going to be into the construction phase.
Yes. And you'll know when that's happening.
And I understand that. I understand that this is what's so frustrating for me is that you guys don't understand the points that I'm trying to make, which I consider to be very valid. Eric, let me finish. Gosh darn it. The thing that I'm trying to figure out right now is what phase this contract we're in. Okay, because I don't think it's clear that
we're in the first 10%
we're in, and how much more work. What I'm trying to explain, let me finish, everybody. What I'm trying to explain is that after Garmin Miller comes back with its final design, we are going to owe them, and let's just say that we're already going to owe them 45% of the contract after they come up with this final design. Okay. This is what I have an issue with, is that we paid them $12,000 to come up with a design. Okay. Then there is another, 45% of the work is in the design part of this contract. We've already paid them $12,000 to come up with a preliminary design. And
aren't those designs transferable though? Should we choose another architect hypothetically?
Yes, David. Yes,
it's not like it's a sunken cost.
It's not. It's not lost cost. But their preliminary phase involve meetings. When we get, and I realize Tony has no clue about how much design professionals cost, engineers cost, but that's completely in line. It's expensive, guys. It's soft cost money, and it costs money to build a building. And quite frankly, it's the smallest piece, right, to get to the point, because you're walking into up to a $2 million structure with site costs at the end of the day. I mean, it's going to be up there, and $45,000 is quite normal. You're paying that all the stuff to get to construction. You had to involve engineers, you had to involve the architect's time, and it costs money. It is in the day.
And just to point out the one more point to this, Tony, I get where you're coming from, but 5 other council members are okay with this process and okay with up to $116,000, which completes all of phase 2. I know you don't like it, but the other 5 council members agreed to do all of phase 2 from the design to the construction bid documents. And I think that's what you have a problem with. You don't want to spend the money. You had your vote. 5 other members want to move forward with all of phase 2. And that's all I'm going to say about it. I'm not arguing you. I can appreciate you having a strong opinion about not wanting to move forward with this. However, there are 5 other members, and some of which have spoken up, and it just, I get it. Like, I do understand your frustration, but 5 members chose to spend up to $116,000 to complete phase 2. And that's all I have to say. And it's now 9 o'clock.
Since so here, I will just add, boy, we just would have bought that 6999 building. We'd have a beautiful new community center.
I was your friend until 5 minutes ago.
Well, and that's a great point there, Mark, is that the council at that time all thought that that 299 building was a great idea. The whole council thought it was. But in the end, the residents didn't think that. And right now, here I am again, being the only person, coming to these meetings.
We decided that we need to update the community building.
I don't disagree with that.
Well, no, you disagree. I said we, meaning the majority of council, has decided, and the mayor's office, that the building we have is now unacceptable. I mean, I believe you're right. We're going to have to do some stuff to get it to pass and to make sure it stays passed, because people don't like spending money. And there are people who don't care that our community building is crap and had mold in it and isn't handicap accessible and doesn't have space. And that when I decorate for various MPCA projects, like the Christmas party, I feel ashamed when my wife invites a friend of mine to come there because it's such a stinking, small, terrible little space. And I understand a lot of people don't care because they're like, well, I'm never going to use the community building. I'm never going to be inside there. What does it matter to me? I want us to have a nice community. I want us to have facilities that we can be proud of. And so I'm going to continue to vote to get those, even if there are people in the community who think it's a waste of money and that their taxes should be cut.
Mark,
I'll just on the record say, no, that's not my priority. And if you want it to be your priority, I think the deadline for being on the ballot for council has passed, but I know there's a write-in option because that's how I got on council a few years ago.
I just wanted to be clear to everyone that I'm not opposed to redoing our community building. This is not, but what I am in favor of, and where I differ from the council is
you are a member of the council, sir.
What's that?
You say you differ from the council. You are a member of the council, sir.
My opinion differs from the majority of council as to this is a great building, and I'll take a minute to just say that my biggest problem with this building is having the police on the side of the building that they are on. That's my biggest objection to this building. And I think about having, what I envision the lakes to be is a place for people to go paddle boating or canoeing or ice skating. I think ice skating is the best one to bring up here because this is what I really don't like about the plan for the existing or the plan that we have in place now is the police's parking lot is going to be right there beside the lake, along with a dumpster. It's going to be 10 feet away from the lake.
Dumpster is going to get.
I hate about that drawing or that proposal.
You'll see adjustments. You'll see adjustments. And what's wonderful about our lake is there's a lot of shoreline to work with. There's a lot of things to adjust. So give it some time. Respect the process. You're going to get to see some additions and changes. So, and dumpster will be one of them, I promise.
Can't wait to see.
All right. If I could bring up a new business item.
Yes.
Hey, Mark, before you do, I just wanted to say, I had just to close out the facility thing. I had gone over the documents again last night, and I do feel that some of the dates and the sequence and the wording added to the confusion of when you look at it in hindsight and you put it all together, there's a lot of things that could be cleaned up on here. I'm not sure the best job was done, but I will say, regardless of that, the point is that 5 members of council, including me, wanted to proceed. I believe that the mayor is making an honest effort here, and any discrepancy in these dates, which may or may not need to be fixed, any discrepancy in the dates and the sequence and the timing was not intentional, and that everyone was acting in good faith to move this forward, regardless of the, like I say, what I would consider a little bit sloppy work in getting there. I believe the intentions were in the right place. I don't think, I think, for example, if the legal counsel could at least look at we were looking at the Appendix A letter with the amounts on it in order to, when we did our vote, and that letter changed after we passed that. Now, the letter does have a change in that one paragraph, but I don't consider that a substantive change. I know we had the discussion during the charter business when that changed. I don't personally believe it was a substantive change, but still, that same document was changed after the council passed based on the appendix that was given to them. So there's some stuff out there that's a bit messy, but again, I just want to reiterate that I believe that everyone's intentions were in the right place, and that there's nothing that is substantively incorrect, but it is a confusing kind of messy thing that happened. I hope we can move forward. Done.
Exactly. And I think that was my point to it. At the end of the day, if there's a clerical error that needs to be done, a date that needs adjust, or anything that Jesse does recommend doing, it's not an issue. I mean, as far as on our end, and I'm just trying to make it clear to everybody also that regardless of the clerical error, it's still going to move forward, in my opinion, with the same 5 members. So we have no issue whatsoever. Obviously I have no issue, because I don't want there to be any sort of like question as to a date of it. I have authorization. This is the amount that I have authorization. Jesse and him decided to make some adjustments to the actual contract, because again, I didn't have authorization to sign the contract until after it passed. But neither here nor there, Diane. I do appreciate that. So let's get it to Jesse. Anything that he needs adjusted. In the event he does get home in time and has him, adjusted, if he does get it before the council meeting, I'd be more than happy to bring it to first reading or anything like that, if there is any adjustments. Other than that, we would do it in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it is. And we will get it to you as soon as possible in the event that there is one.
Could you have Jesse take a look at the accuracy of the language in 2117?
We'll get him everything.
Jesse reviewed the whole contract.
We will make sure that
I'd like to hear Jesse, when Jesse reviews these ordinances or resolutions.
Absolutely.
So yes, we will have him bring all of the above. I'll have the assistants on here, so I'm going to have her forward both resolutions, as well as the actual signed, as well as the original Appendix A. So we're going to get him the Appendix A, we're going to get him the signed one, we're going to get him both pieces of legislation. And then if he has any problems, questions, concerns with any adjustments, we will, or there may just be a yay or nay vote that he wants something adjusted, and we can just adjust it in there based on that. So we'll see exactly how he wants it done, if there is any adjustments or changes needed, and you guys will make that decision. I assume that it will probably be the same voting the way that it goes, but who knows? You never know. So let's go. I know Mark wants to talk about, I don't know if this is what he wants to talk about now, but meeting dates and times.
So real quick. So the 16th is coffee with council. I'm just going through because it's on the email chain we had, not on the notices yet.
Exactly, because I needed to know what we were calling it for sure.
Yes, that makes sense. Okay, so on to the thing that I want to talk about that I sent the email out. I will not be at the Monday, the 23rd meeting. That is my first night of class. I am finishing up my master's. My class are every Monday from 4:45 to 8:30 p.m. And so I had put out, if anyone would object for, in August, the meeting notice is already out. There's nothing we can do about that. But for September, October, November, and maybe the first half of December, moving our normal meetings from Monday night to Tuesday night, because otherwise, to be honest, I might make one council meeting a month, and I might be late for that, depending on what I work out with my professor. Council is important to me. I want to do a job and represent the community, but I can't get out of missing a once a week class every week for the entirety of the semester. And
I have no issues with that.
Put off finishing my degree for another year in hopes that the next time I go to take this class, it's not on a Monday. That's only offered once a year in the fall semester.
Yeah, I have no problem with this at all. I totally get how atypical school and work schedules can influence and modify one's life schedule. So that is fine by me.
You're the person I was most worried about, because you have a weird non-9 through 5 Monday through Friday schedule, more so than I think about everyone else on council.
Yeah, Tuesday is fine. Tuesday's fine for me. I'm off Tuesdays too.
Okay, so I would like to say that I certainly don't want to get in the way of Councilman Berger's master's degree, but I guess I am a more traditionalist in terms of I know we're a small village, so I guess we can be flexible, but it's always, council meetings have always been on Monday. There hasn't always been 2 council meetings in the month, and there haven't always been work sessions, but it's always been on Monday. And I just have a problem with us taking it so lightly that we just change it up when somebody has something like this, or something even more severe. Could be someone all of a sudden has medical treatments that happen to happen on Monday or whatever. It's an individual. So I guess I'm very uncomfortable with changing it from Monday.
I feel the same.
And as a compromise, perhaps we could change the second council meeting of the month to a Tuesday, but leave the primary council meeting where all employees are in attendance. It seems like to leave that one on Monday as a compromise, but I personally am very uncomfortable with changing something that is a tradition within the village, that the council meeting is always on Monday.
I may have been. Have I been on nights for? I mean, I've been on nights for like almost 4 years now. Am I missing something about the significance of Mondays that I've honestly forgotten?
No,
since the beginning, since as long as I've been in the village, 30 some years, I've gone back to look to see if council meetings have ever been on anything but a Monday. And especially I guess this, however the formula goes for the first Monday of the month, the first after the, and it's always been that way. It's been that way for, I mean, we're talking about, I know the residents don't always choose to participate, but that is when they expect their council to be meeting is those times.
I would argue that with the digitalization of our meetings, that the specific date would be less critical.
Unless you're someone like myself that plans the second Monday of every freaking month to be at the council meeting, That's what they revolve their lives around. You know, that is, it's more than tradition, in my opinion. It's what every municipality in Ohio does. It's the second Monday, just about every that I've looked at. It's the second Monday of the month. It's the council meeting.
I will not dispute that. I don't know enough about other municipalities to intelligently comment.
And that's
well, not only that, in terms of the electronic, the Zoom thing, I mean, it took the state of Ohio or Franklin County to allow us to even consider doing a Zoom meeting. I mean, that was a major leap in the state government is pretty slow to change anything.
Well, crisis is the motivator for many changes.
Right.
Many advancements.
I just think, I realize that there is a rules of council that says that a meeting can be changed, but the spirit of that was never that, we should meet once. Why not just meet during the monthly meeting and say, okay, what's everybody's calendar look like?
Exactly.
What day do you want to do the council meetings on? Let's pick a couple days here. I just don't, I can't.
Diane, I would say that's a little bit of a disingenuous straw man and or slippery slope argument. What's being requested isn't let's just pull out calendars. It's for a set 3-month period of time, we make a change and stick with a consistent change. Saying, well, why not? Is that going to lead to this? No, it's not. Now, you have a serious argument on that you don't want to violate tradition and the way things have been. And that is a perfectly adequate opinion, but I'm not going to debate fallacies of logic.
Well, here's my opinion. You describe it as a slippery slope. It is a slippery slope once we start deciding that we need to revolve our schedule around yours. And that's exactly.
Oh, now that's not fair. I mean, that's not fair, but Tony, I think that's a bit of an attack there. And I don't mean to attack because I don't mean that. I'm old. And so sometimes I have worry about my thought processes and attitudes. And I want to be, I want to think I'm progressive, even though it's hard when you have so much history in your brain. It's really hard though, sometimes to flip a switch. So, but I just, I personally, for me, I have made the 4-year commitment and made the commitment on Mondays, and it hasn't always been convenient for me, but I've sucked it up and done it. And so so personally, I'm like, well, I didn't know so I have that emotional thing. I'm trying to put that aside, and I'm trying to think about what is it exactly. And I think, again, I don't know how. I'm certain that some of our residents will be very surprised that we would do something like that. And there you have David, who's like, yeah, what's the problem? We're going to have that full range of thought processes going on with this. I just, in the past, though, I would say, having the history with the village, when somebody had something that was something that, yes, okay, it's 3 months, but still, people would, council members might either take a leave of absence, or because, of course, Mark has an additional 2 more years of being on council should he want to choose to be on council. So I guess that's just it's a philosophical issue at this point. I'm not trying to penalize or anybody. I'm troubled by it. I'm just troubled by it.
Guys, I've got to get to bed. I work again tonight, but I guess my final statement is I don't think that the pillars of Western civilization will crumble on the basis of a Tuesday night meeting for a few months.
And so,
I agree with you, David.
You can't do 5 more minutes? Is that what I'm saying? That's what.
No, I've got to.
Every day, every Saturday morning, I gotta go to sleep, and the meeting takes like 5 more minutes.
Because he's got a work schedule, and it's nice that he does show up when some members of council don't ever show up to the Saturday work session.
Right. Thank you, David.
Thanks, David.
Not a problem.
Good
guys.
night.
I'll see you on Monday.
Okay, so my 2 cents, Mark, I said my 2 cents on the email. Monday versus Tuesday, people don't like change. I totally get it.
It's not about that. Now, don't put it that way. That's not right.
No, I'm not saying that about any of you guys. I'm saying a lot of people don't like change, and residents are not going to like change. Like you said, there's going to be some that aren't going to be thrilled with it. As far as my schedule goes, I would prefer to have all of council there. If it meets everybody else's calendar, we'll say it that way. I wish it was on Tuesdays. To me, I do a lot of long weekend vacations, and I've not been able to do that just for the simple fact that I would come home on Monday. Personal, sorry. And so for me, a Tuesday would actually be beneficial. The only other thing that I would say about that is I would love that it's going to be a different council in January, and mark your calendar for this. I would love to have that conversation with the new group January 1st, because I think it is something that should be set each, every so often or every 4 years or whatever it is that, if that's something that we want to do. Again, I would want to clear it with Chief to make sure that that's not going to be an issue with Chief and Eric and Jesse. Maybe they already have other municipalities that they need to be in on Tuesdays, so I don't want to speak for them. But here's what as far as that goes, I am totally on board for Tuesday night. It does not, I would be there. I'm there. I don't think I've missed very many meetings all year. If it helps out for a very short time, the 3 or 4 people that have showed up at a meeting in the last 2 years, I think that they would try to alter their schedule to come Monday versus a Tuesday. So I don't have an issue with it. Mark, my recommendation is if we need to do I think the biggest question that I have is if we just need to do a voice vote versus legislation. If it's a voice vote, my recommendation is do a voice vote. We got 6 members. That's the way I'm taking the rest of this year, and I've been taking the last 6 months. We have 6 members, and we will go through each 6 member and see what they want to do. I think that would be your best bet, and I have no problem doing it.
And it is, I had said that I felt it needed to be amended, but it, Mark pointed out that it specifically says that all we have to do is have a voice vote.
Yeah. So my recommendation is just have it ready to go, Mark. If it's something that you think would be beneficial, if you would like, I could talk to Matt, Chief Delp, Eric, and for the next 3 months and see 4 months, whatever, and see if that would be an option for them. Maybe that would help you.
And then probably, it would actually have to be Monday night because I won't be there on the 23rd. So the next official meeting.
Yeah, I would do it.
It's just coffee.
Yeah. So I will ask Eric if that would be an issue for him for the next 3 months. I will ask Chief just so you're aware if it is a problem. That way you at least have that in your back pocket and you can make the decision if you want to move forward asking the rest of council, and we'll see where it goes.
And I just from the email from Joe, I'm not sure. The question he asked was, is the date negotiable? So that would make me concerned that he may not be available on Tuesday. I don't know that.
Correct.
But I would hate to just swap one person for. I would hate to swap one person for another.
Totally agree.
Yeah, if someone is just like, well, Tuesday's definitely, Monday's the only day I can do it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes no sense to just swap one council member for another.
Absolutely. Totally agree. Yeah. But I think it's a valid question, and I think it's something, again, that's something that we can look at in January. I know it's going to be, I saw who's running, and then the 2 of you. That's something that I personally, I would love for them to be Tuesday nights.
All right, well, we wait for the vote.
That's all I had for that.
Okay. Okay, what are we naming Coffee with Council so we can get that posted?
Community forum is what is in the Villager. I mean, I guess you can, as that the only vote I got was from Brian, and he said community forum, so I went with that.
Perfect. I will get that posted tomorrow or Monday, so we have that done. And then Mark, I don't know if you saw it, but I did ask next legislation. I know that we're going to talk about whether or not we move this to Tuesday, so no pressure, but I don't think I posted anything for legislation for that reason right now. I'm not in any hurry, but I just wanted you to know I don't have one on the books.
for some reason, I had it on the 16th because I thought that was going to be a council meeting, and it's not. It's coffee with council.
Yes.
But I could still do one there, 6:30.
It's up to you.
Because, I mean, even though, well, I mean, we don't have a meeting that night, and I don't think we have any pressing legislation that needs to get debated, like the noise ordinance. Right?
I mean, some council members haven't had meetings in months. So, I mean, if you need to skip a month or whatever, that's entirely up to you.
Yeah, I don't
If
see
we don't have something
need for it. Yeah. I mean, we'll of course be whatchamahigget. When that Governor Miller stuff comes around, we'll probably, what gets further down, we'll have meetings for that, but I don't see a need for it this this time around.
Okay, so if anybody else wants to schedule their committee meetings, just if you need to include other members or include village staff, then just maybe start sending out those emails. If you don't, great. But at this point, this month, there are no committee meetings on the calendar that I'm aware of. So just whenever you guys have them, just make sure that you guys send them out, let me know, so we can get the notices posted. The walls, I'll tell you guys a couple old business, new business. The hornet's nest was removed yesterday. I think that's about as much as I have going on. That's that. It was on the walking way to school, so we wanted to make sure we got it handled. I know some people were definitely wanting that done before school started. So it has been relocated.
To the trash?
I hope it was just killed.
I don't know what they did and I didn't ask. Sometimes less is better. And then we did have the West Nile, the traps that were set. I guess I could say that too. That's why they sprayed, because the West Nile was detected in one of our traps. To remind everybody, we have the 2-year contract with Franklin County. We only spray. I know some people would prefer we spray like we used to. I am one of those people. I know it's gonna bite me in the butt, but I do prefer to be able to sit out back and enjoy it, and getting bit by mosquitoes is not fun, but that's just me. I also don't like to see butterflies die and all that kind of stuff, but I also am, you know, selfish when I want to sit out back and not be eaten alive and have to spray nasty spray all over me. But anyways, I'll spray the spray. We do only spray in the event of something coming up, and it's not just West Nile, but I think that's what it was. We only spray when something like that comes up. So again, it's just a reminder for people that that's why we're doing what we're doing. Blendon Township was no longer an option. So we did have to contract with Franklin County, which is what Blendon Township also did. It is not cheap. It is more expensive than spraying. We were able to spray more than what we're spraying now, and now it's more expensive, but it is what it is, unless we just don't ever spray at all. So that's that. They did spray. If it happens again, we'll do the same thing. And I get notified usually 24, 48 hours before. And then I will update the website. We'll send out messages. We'll do everything that we can do. And that's that.
Doesn't the contract allow us to have like one spray that, you know, an event spray, or I believe,
yes, I do believe it did have that. So if it got so bad, I've not had complaints. The gnats are the thing that drives me crazy. Like when we walk down Jordan Road, they are like, they're horrible. You like walk through, I don't know if it's like that everywhere in the village. Huh?
It's a cloud of bugs.
Yeah, it's like, well, I mean, it's so funny because the other day I dropped my phone. I was doing one of these, like just trying to walk through it. It's disgusting. So, so if anybody has a gnat sprayer, I would like to get a contract with them. But yes, if we did need something, maybe like before the village block party or something like that, if we find that they're getting really bad, that's something that we could try. Or if I start getting a lot of complaints, which I really haven't had, maybe what we'll do is say, does anybody want to use our one little option to get it done? So, but at this point, I haven't had the complaints like I have in the past.
I don't know if it was the placebo effect, but I saw the truck go through the neighborhood and it wasn't as bad I didn't think it was quite as bad last night as it was the night before. That's all I can say is, but that again, I don't know if it was the weather or what, but I did see them go through the village. I can verify that they did go through, at least on my street. That's all I got.
Awesome. Does anybody else have anything for Monday night that they know they want to talk about, just to get it at least on the table? If not, let's go home. It's 9:30 and I'm tired. I'm going to go take a nap like David is.
What'd you do last night?
Nothing, I'm just tired. I wish I could tell you that I did something exciting, but I went to the casino and I was home by 10.
Well, if it's anything like you, this whole Garmin Miller thing's got me wore out.
I just try to know that if there's, here's what I know my intentions, and I know my intentions are good. So at the end of the day, if there's a clerical error and somebody from council points it up, more power to them. I think it's good that people are reading the information. It's good that people are looking at the information, and that I don't have an issue with. But I would like it to be a productive conversation and a positive conversation to move forward. Because at the end of the day, most of us want to see a new facility building. Again, we have met with them. I'm not going to go in detail on it right now, but we have started talking about designs, and I will assure everybody that there are several things that has been pointed out, and we have definitely brought that to light in both meetings that we have had with them, as far as bathrooms go, as far as like Eric had talked about, the dumpster, the restroom close to. These are all things that have been discussed at full length with Garmin Miller. So just as a courtesy for you guys to know what is going on, I feel like it's important for you guys to know that. But there is absolutely nobody, myself and Eric and Chief and the administration, we work in this building every single day with the exception of Eric, which is most days. There is no one that wants this building more than the administration, and now being in the building myself. I want council to like the building. I want council to move forward, and I want the residents to love the building. We're not all going to get what we want. We can't afford what we want. But what our needs are is extremely important. So at the end of the day, I want something that is functioning. I may not like where one of the rooms is at, but I would rather have 90% of what I want than nothing at all. So all I can tell you is we are doing this in good faith. We are doing everything that we can to check as many boxes as we possibly can. And we are listening to what council says. It doesn't mean that it's going to happen. Family restrooms is one, just individual locked room. You guys know where we're going with this, and they are being discussed. All I can tell you is they are. And we want to move forward with this more than anything in the world because we're the ones that's in there, but we're not going to do something that doesn't work. So we are trying, we are doing what we need to do. And hopefully this gets done and everybody's 90% happy.
And I'm going to have to end with one last thing now that you bring up the.
Sorry guys, I opened a can of worms. I'm teasing.
What I would like to point out is that the contract, and this is why I wanted to know what phase of this project we're in, is that the schematic design phase of the project requires approval of council for the plan. The design phase, I know there's at least one point in the contract where the design needs to be approved by council according to the contract that we just signed.
And we're not there.
We keep saying that, we're going to do everything, that's great. And council's going to have a chance to approve these designs.
And again, just so this is just in respect to that, Tony, we have already had some of the discussions. What would the outside of the building look like? What would this look like? And those are, the goal is to have our top options and bring them to you. So we would have them design a couple different things and then so there is discussion. They are going to be brought to you guys. The design is going to be brought to you guys. We are nowhere near that yet. And to be fair, Eric, was it yesterday we met with them. I told you, I don't even know what you asked me what date I signed something. Did we meet with them Thursday or Friday?
No, we met with them yesterday.
Yes.
Okay, see, there you go. So we met with them yesterday at 11 a.m. So we're nowhere near anywhere that we're ready to bring anything to council. It is strictly discussions of, once again, in person, not just emails, bringing to light some of the things that Beth McFarland had said, or Mark had said. Diane had brought up, you know, different locations of rooms. That is what was discussed yesterday. It was a great, great, great meeting. And it's going to be brought. I mean, again, all I can tell you is administration wants this to get done. So we're hopeful that we can check as many boxes as we possibly can, that the residents will be happy, council will be happy, but I can't promise that everybody's going to be 110% happy. And I get in trouble for saying 110%, 100% happy. Because again, we do have a funding issue. So we can't have everything we want. We want our needs.
Well, I will say that the best part about this contract is that it changes the way I look at it, is that council actually has 2 more opportunities to be able to weigh in on this, which wasn't the way has been presented in the past.
No, again, I don't want to get to the final phase, Tony, and you guys throw a conniption fit. Nobody wants that. I mean, at the end of the day, the goal is to get a new building. The goal is not to try to get council as mad as possible. At the end of the day, we want a new building, and we are going to do everything that we can to get this design as close to what it is within the range that we can afford. We have already been told certain things, and it is going to be what it is. And you're just council, there's going to be 6 votes. Everybody's going to have a vote as far as what the building looks like and some of the design and all of that. Not everybody's going to be happy, but as long as we can check as many boxes as possible, I hope people keep an open mind. And I haven't seen it either.
Real quick final thing, just as a positive, apparently putting the stuff in the newsletter and getting the word out has worked. According to Franklin County Board of Elections, we actually have 6 people registered for the 4 open council seats, so it'll be a competitive race, including, by what I can see, 3 people who have never been on council before, and at least 1 from the new MI development section. So,
and it all depends on whether their petitions were filled out correctly. You know, because the first time I filled out my petition, it got thrown out because I put the wrong date.
Right.
You know,
well,
so
I'm just looking at the.
It was very interesting.
I'm just looking at what Franklin County says the candidates filed are. So I don't know if they put that up before they check or not.
That will be decided on the 16th.
Yes.
August 16th is when they certify the.
Yes.
Gotcha. So 6 people have at least put in their paperwork, assuming they did it right. We'll have competitive elections.
A lot of people actually. Yeah, it's great, and it's funny. It's not funny. Maybe I shouldn't bring this up, but the amount of people that actually. There are people paying attention, and there are people that are interested in paying attention, because there were several people that actually pulled
petitions and didn't turn them in.
So, you know, that's one of those that you wonder why, and it would be nice to know why. Sometimes people just get so mad about something and they decide to run over and get one because they want to run for council, and then they're like, it's not. So I don't know. I don't know why they pulled petitions and didn't do it. Maybe that something came up.
I think that's an exactly. I think the common denominator in people deciding they want to run for council is because they don't think things are going very well. It's not because they think things are great. It's because they think we need help. I know that's why I did it.
Well, I can tell you, actually, I do know 2 of them that are running, and they don't think we need help. They're excited to get involved. So I personally know 2 of them. They're very excited to get involved. One is actually a newer resident, not a new resident, but in the older section, which would be an amazing fit. She's just super excited to get involved because she loves her neighborhood. Simple as that. That's what she has said numerous times. I love my neighborhood and I want to get involved. And she doesn't see any issues or problems. It's just the fact that she thinks that this is something that would be exciting for her. The other person is a very involved person. We see her name all the time on Facebook and everything. And she's the same way. She really doesn't see, I don't want to speak for her, but again, it was more about how can I help? I want to get involved. This seems like something that I could do. So, you know, I think that there's always those people that want to get involved because they don't like something the way that it's going. And I was one of those too, Tony. So, and now look, here we are. So there's a good selection of people. There's 6 people. I don't know if you can still write in, Mark. Maybe you can.
I don't think you can now that there's 6 people.
Yeah, I think you can only do it if you don't have, but I don't know.
I believe you can always register to be a write-in candidate, but with 6 people running on the ballot, that would be a hard hill to climb, I would imagine.
Probably.
Because you need to find more people who are willing to write your name in than there are people willing to vote and just say, well, I don't know these 4 because their names sound good. Or I know that person, or.
Right. Well, and again, we have to get through the certification process to make sure that we actually do in fact have enough. And then the next part to that is, and we saw this the year that Diane and I and Tony ran, you know, things come up for people. So they decide that they're not able to do it. I mean, and you know, hopefully my big hope for these people, and I'm going to end it with this because I want to go take a nap too. I hope that the people that are running, and if any of these people are listening to this, I know that this is not a live stream, so they would actually have to request this video, or what, maybe that is uploaded online, never mind. I hope they get involved. I hope they do come out to some of the council meetings and see how it's done. I think being there in person is always a great thing. I know that they can watch the videos. I know they can see what's going on. So I'm not saying just because they're not there, but it does show, you know, if they're able to get out there on a Monday night and see everything, it makes it appear as if they're really vested and they're really excited about getting in there, and they have the ability to show up on a Monday night, even if we change it to Tuesday. So I'm hoping that we see some of these faces, because there's some faces I don't know. And obviously there's a couple that we do.
There you go.
Move to adjourn.
Sold.
Okay.
I'll step in for Brian.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye,
Good night.
everyone.